February 14th, 1951, I was born into this world. And I grew up with 5 siblings. My oldest brother retired from the service. Second oldest brother lives in Texas. He retired from active duty. My brother passed away from aneurysm. He served in Vietnam, but did not retire. And then my sister, she didn't go in at all. Then my youngest brother lives in Missouri. He joined the National Guard and stayed there what he's supposed to 3 years. And then he got out, didn't retire. But and Dad was a World War II vet. So we were pretty much all military inclined. There on the farm, the very first car I owned was a 1951 Chevrolet Club Coupe. And it had a 360 V8 in it. And a 260, I'm sorry, 260 straight 6. And my brother was driving it, and he blew the connector rod through the side. So he went to the junkyard and found a 1946 Babbitt rod, 6-cylinder. And it ran beautiful. But it started making a little noise. So, mechanically inclined, I got underneath, you could actually drop the oil pan back then, and nothing was in the way. And I shimmed every Babbitt rod. You had to shim them. And it had to be so many thousandths. And I forgot Plex putty or something like that. It's a little string made out of soft material. And you put that in under the cap and you tighten it down and then untighten it, and then you measure it on this scale. And it's got to be so many thousandths. And I did all 6 of them that way. And I enjoyed it. I started that thing up and crumb underneath and I was watching my crankshaft go around and around and around. just to see it move. And just good things. And I worked on the Burnside's old 1947 Studebaker. I worked on that and replaced a few things on it. Didn't really get into it that much. Worked on his farm truck, and I replaced both kingpins. And the kingpins is where your spindles, they swivel on these kingpins on the axle. Then it swivels. That's kingpins in there. I replaced both of them. Had a good time. And I worked on his Oliver combine, and it had the old 318. It had the old 318 Dodge engine in it. And if you look at them now, it's just a straight valve cover. But the old ones I worked on had stair step on the side. And that was the old model. It was a good engine. And they quit making them. And I overhauled that from top to bottom. Enjoyed that. I overhauled his pickup truck, Ford pickup truck. New rings, new valve lifters, the whole shop. And I put it all back together, fired it up. It's a gasoline. Fired it up, and it sounded like a diesel. I said, well, I was joking with him. I said, well, I sure like the sound of your diesel. Like that. He goes, I should have went with oversized piston. And that's called piston slap. Because when your rod's down here pushing your piston up with the push rod or connected rod, it actually pushes your piston sideways. And it goes on up. So every time it does that, it wears. Then that's called piston slap. It'll slap the piston against the chamber, and that's what you hear. Clack, 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 clack. Sound like a diesel. But he ran with that for a while because I already had it tore apart. So what? So anyway, I enjoyed that. Oh my gosh, I enjoyed getting my hands dirty. Worked on his tractors. Had a 1650, and this puppy, believe it or not, would go about 33 miles an hour down the road, pulling a load of corn. And we was going to the scale one time, I remember, and an old boy that lived there close to us, he pulled out with his old Alice Chalmers, and down the road he went, put, 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 and I put this thing in overdrive. It had an overdrive on it. I put this thing in overdrive. I passed him like he was standing still. Waved my hat at him. That was fun. That was fun. Good memories. Good memories. Back when we lived there at the farm, Burnside's farm, it was all gravel. It was a gravel road. But now it's all blacktop. Nice road now, blacktop. But back then it was all gravel. And our neighbor had an old Nash that he had torn apart. He had a rear end sitting there along with the transmission. My brother, Charlie, one that lives in Texas, he had an old one-cylinder Briggs Stratton, and I suppose it was maybe 5 horse, but he pounded a pulley, a belt pulley, onto the shaft. And he put a belt pulley on the transmission shaft. And he put a belt there, and with a tension spring clutch, you might say. And it was flimsy. We had a long 2x6 board between the front wheels and the back wheels, and it would bounce as we was going down. But I remember getting behind that thing and pushing it, getting it rolling so he could put it in first gear. And then he'd pull the string, pop, 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 and gain a little speed. Then he'd do his little clutch thing, shift it in second, pop, 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 pop. And by the time he had it in third, I suppose we was probably rolling down the road maybe 28, 29 miles an hour. Pretty good speed, actually. And that was that. Well, and Dad got tired of that because my cousin was driving, and it was just another 2x6 with one bolt right in the middle that went out, and it held wheels and with strings, and that was his steering. And we was having good times with it, kids. Well, I was sitting right on that front of that bolt, and naturally that put weight on it. Well, he turned the corner, but he couldn't get it straightened back out, and we hit the fence. And I remember I didn't know what to think. I just, oh my God. And next thing I know, boom, and I woke up on the ground. It knocked me out. And then I woke up when I hit the ground. And a wire had gone through my ankle, got infected. So I had that worked on. And Dad said, that's enough of that. Well, my brother, same one, lives in Texas. He had an old 53 Buick. Body was all shot. So he took it on himself. He removed the body completely off the frame. That Buick that my brother took the body off of, we nicknamed it the Frame. So every time we want to go somewhere, I said, I'm going to take the frame. So the way we'd go. And back then we had, the strip mine had gone through, but I forgot the name of it now, but they left paths through their strip mine area, which they didn't care if you went through, just as long as you stayed safe. And we'd drive this frame through these little roads that they made. And we had a lot of good times, a lot of good times. Now, if you don't mind, I'll go back to my basic training of the military. Back then, we had to go through a little room called the gas chamber. And the drill sergeant would explain to us how the gas mask works. You got a filter that filters out the gas. And we were all standing in line, and it was our turn to go up. So he hollered, "Attention!" And when he did, this boy dropped. I didn't drop my weapon, but it fell on the ground in front of me. And he stopped, and he looked at me. He said, "Get down, give me 25, and kiss your weapon every time you go down." So I had to. And I did it 25 times. And I kissed my weapon every time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it was just basic training. It was stress. That's what it was about. And so we went into this chamber, and the drill sergeant and another person both had their masks on, and they had these gas grenades, and they pulled the pin and you could hear the hiss, and he'd throw it on the floor, and he threw another one on the floor. And he said, "Okay, now break the seal on your gas mask." So we did, and the eyes immediately started burning, and I could not catch my breath. And so I put my mask back on. Well, he counted, he waited. "Okay, put your mask back on." So we did. And pretty soon, eventually it started clearing up. Then I could start breathing again. Thank God for the gas mask. There was another guy, after everybody left, there was one person missing out of our squad. And here he come with a smile on his face, totally wet in his crotch. And what happens is if you don't get your breath, you pass out. But the thing is, once you pass out in gas, your brain no longer registers it as gas. So you can breathe. You breathe normal. Yep. So even though you're passed out, you can breathe. And anyway, but when you do pass out, you wet yourself. I still remember him coming to our squad. He has that grin on his face, like, "Look at me."
You gotta go, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, when you gotta go, even though you're passed out. But I got my discharge papers. They're called DD 214. And the reason I call it is, I forgot what DD stands for now. It's been so long ago. But the 214 is the paper that specifies what kind of paper it is. And on my first one, it says helicopter repairman. And then on my second one, I got two DD 214s, one from the active Army and one from the Reserve Center. And so whenever they ask for the DD 214, I think, well, which one? You know, the old ones don't say 22 years. The newer one don't say 22 years, so I put them together. So finally, I just stapled them together and say, here's my DD 214s. So it seems like they're pretty happy with that. So good Lord has blessed us. Really, really has. And he's still my shepherd. He's still guiding us. Thank you, Lord. But like I say, Robert Moore, I had fun in my years. Still having fun. I got a terrific son-in-law. I got a beautiful daughters and a beautiful granddaughter and a really sweet wife. And I'm just happy.